Hey guys, welcome back to S2TV. I am Stuart Breeding, Master Trainer here at Studio 2, and I want to talk to you guys a little bit about how you can become a better fat burner, how you can turn your body into a fat burning machine. Now, everybody's interested in this subject matter. I see countless articles on it. If you are still having the conversation about how much you weigh, or you're judging success based on how much weight you have lost, I really encourage you to watch this video, open up your mind a little bit, and please understand that that conversation of weight loss is incredibly unhealthy and is going to end up at some point in some kind of metabolic disaster. Here at Studio 2, we are only interested in how much muscle mass and how much body fat our clients have, and it's the only conversation we're interested in. We really don't care how much you weigh. It really doesn't mean a lot. Now, I want to open this up and ask you a question. Are you burning more fat doing an hour-long monster workout, or are you burning more fat laying in bed 24 hours a day watching Cartoon Network? Easy question. Are you burning more fat doing a monster 1,000-calorie crusher workout, or are you burning more fat laying in bed all day? If you answered the workout, you are exactly wrong. Believe it or not, you are burning by far more fat at rest than any workout you could ever do, and I want to explain to you why that is. I'm holding right here, this is a copy of my personal InBody report, and the InBody tells us a lot of great things. It's an incredibly accurate body composition analyzer, and I want to draw your attention to the bottom right corner where it says BMR, 1,895 calories. So BMR is basal metabolic rate. It's how many calories your body needs at rest to sustain itself. I want to say that again. How many calories your body needs at rest. This is not activity. It's laying in bed. This is organ function and sustaining current muscle tissue. My body needs 1,895 calories at rest to sustain itself. Now, I want to explain to you why that is. I'll draw your attention back up about mid-level body composition analysis. You will see I have 90.8 pounds of muscle tissue and 15.2 pounds of fat. I have by far much more muscle mass than I do body fat. It is relatively easy for me to keep body fat low given the amount of muscle that I need and the amount of calories that that muscle needs to sustain itself. Now, here's where we get a little tricky, and this is the important part of this conversation you have to understand. We can teach our bodies to be more efficient fat metabolizers. When we do a metabolic test, the person is starting out on the treadmill slowly. What we usually see when they're walking at 2 miles an hour warming up is the highest percentage of body fat, which also corresponds to the fact that at rest, you're burning by far the largest percentage of fat than you are at, say, anaerobic threshold, where you're burning 100% sugar. When we see this test being done, we can pretty much determine how much body fat our clients are burning at rest. And I know specifically for me, I'm burning somewhere around 90% of my calories from fat at rest. So let me clear that up, because I know I get confusing as hell sometimes. My body is burning 90% of its calories at rest from fat. And in this case, it's 1,895 calories. I'm burning about 1,700 of those calories from fat every single day laying in bed. Roughly a half pound of fat. 3,500 calories is 1 pound of fat. My body is metabolizing a half pound of fat a day laying in bed. Now that's a pretty good problem to have, isn't it? Now, not everybody is automatically doing that. Everybody is burning a higher amount of fat at rest than, like I said, at excessive heart rate zones, but not everybody is in that 90% category. You can learn and teach your body and do a couple of different things to help encourage that. So I hope I've made my point very clear. You are burning by far a larger amount of calories from fat at rest the remainder of the day than you're ever going to burn in that exercise session. So, how do we optimize our basal metabolic rate so we burn more fat during the course of the day? It's a no-brainer conversation so far, right? So, the first thing that we have to look at, once again, is how much muscle mass I have, how much body fat that I have. If you have more fat than muscle, you are in a metabolic hole. Your muscle is only requiring a small amount of calories, right? And there's all this fat that is non-metabolic. Fat is not burning anything. It's just accumulating calories. It is not helping to remove itself. It's not burning anything. There's nothing metabolic happening about fat. It's storage. Muscle is burning fat. The more muscle I have on my body, I can fuel the amount of fat that muscle needs to sustain itself. So very clearly, if I've got a larger amount of muscle tissue than body fat, by far it's going to be easier to continue that process of getting a lower percentage of body fat than it is muscle. So when we see people come in and we see that they have more body fat than muscle, the very first thing that we are trying to do for them is increase the amount of muscle tissue that they have, decrease the amount of fat. Step one is sustaining muscle tissue. And if you've seen my other videos, you will see very clearly that I'm trying to draw your attention and alert you to catabolism or gluconeogenesis, where the body is actually converting muscle tissue into carbohydrate. Thus, you're losing muscle tissue. We have to at least sustain it as we attack that body fat. The next thing we have to look at is activity, of course. Now for us, the conversation is high intensity days, low intensity days. I'm not going to get that specific yet, but I will be covering it in the next video. Activity is just any activity. That's workload throughout the day. Are you sitting in your chair all day, or are you able to get up every hour and move around and increase the amount of energy needed throughout the remainder of the day? So when Dr. Tiff is creating her nutritional programming for people, she's not only looking at BMR, their resting metabolic rate, she's also looking at their activity level, because we want to fuel performance. We want to fuel the amount of muscle, fuel the amount of energy the person needs on a daily basis, while still reducing just enough that we're attacking body fat. So activity, exercise, job, whatever it is that you're doing on a daily basis, incredibly important to raising your overall BMR. The next thing I want to talk about is how do you do this on a cellular level. Now, like I said, this is probably going to be a 2 to 3 part video because it's a little longer than others. Based on the type of workouts that you are doing, such as high intensity interval training, actually attacks your body on a cellular level. The body becomes very oxygen hungry, oxygen starved, because of oxygen debt. One of the things that it will do is create more mitochondria in the cell. The mitochondria are very oxygen hungry. If we have an oxygen rich environment in the cell, you have a fat burning potential. If there's no oxygen that's in that cell, you're sugar burning and you're not burning any fat at all. The more mitochondria inside of that cell, the more oxygen, the more fat we see being utilized. Now, there's a lot of conversation these days about EPOC, excess post-oxygen consumption. Science has proven categorically, folks, that it sounds a lot better than it is. You're getting about 5 to 10% total caloric expenditure from EPOC, which means, let's say you burned that 1,000 calories in that day. If 10% of them are additionally coming from EPOC, that's an extra 100 calories, guys. 100. That's creamer in your coffee that day. That's nothing to get excited about. That does not compare to what is happening at a cellular level in the mitochondria. Remember, the more oxygen-rich environment in the cell I get, the more fat I'm metabolizing, the more activity within a certain range. The more activity, the amount of muscle mass I have relative to the amount of fat mass is going to fuel BMR. All those things go into burning more fat throughout the remainder of the day. And remember, by far, you're going to burn more fat at rest all day long than you will any workout you could possibly do. I am Stuart Breeding here at Studio 2, and thanks for watching.